Welcome to Your Health. I'm your host, Rhonda Alfred, and joining us on this episode is Bo Leonard, a nurse practitioner at Terrebonne General Internal Medicine Specialists. In May, National High Blood Pressure Education Month is bringing awareness regarding hypertension. Today, we will discuss the symptoms of hypertension and how to improve your health. Welcome to the show, Bo.
Thanks, Rhonda.
All right. Well, you know how we get started around here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role.
So my name is Bo Leonard. I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been practicing for 8 years in internal medicine, where we take care of everything, including high blood pressure.
All right. Well, what is the importance of National High Blood Pressure Awareness Month?
So roughly about 50% of the population in the United States has high blood pressure. It's estimated. And a lot of times people don't realize it, and it is basically a silent killer. It affects lots of things that people aren't really always aware of.
Okay. And can you tell us more about what is hypertension and what are some common symptoms?
So hypertension is an elevated blood pressure. So when we measure blood pressure, it measures the pressure on your arteries as your heart is pumping. And when it's elevated, it causes damage to the vessels in the heart. Some of the symptoms that you could potentially have is a headache, blurred vision. Sometimes people just are feeling a little off balance. They just may not feel 100%. Like something's wrong, but they don't always know it. And sometimes there really aren't symptoms. It depends how quickly the blood pressure elevates.
What is a normal blood pressure?
So textbook normal is 120/80. But the goal is to have it less than 140/90 is really what we're shooting for.
Okay, and you should be concerned if it's over that.
Well, yes. So blood pressure varies. It changes depending on what's going on. If someone is stressed out, their blood pressure can go up. If they're nervous about something, their blood pressure can go up. What we're referring to is sustained high blood pressures, which is why we're telling people at least to check it once a day, or if you're feeling bad, to make sure and write it down and bring it to your PCP so we can trend to see if the blood pressure remains high.
And what are some risk factors for developing hypertension?
So some risk factors are genetics. Some it can be familial. Other things are poor diet, smoking, alcohol use, lack of exercise.
Oh, so lifestyle can definitely affect.
Yes. Age and race can also affect it as well.
Okay. And what are some of the complications that it can cause if it's untreated?
Untreated, you are at greater risk for heart attacks, strokes, congestive heart failure are usually some of the major things that we see, as well as kidney complications.
Okay, so it's nothing to play around with, that's
No,
for sure.
at all. Not at all.
All right, so how can individuals monitor their blood pressure at home, and how often should they check their blood pressure?
You can get blood pressure cuffs at either any of the local pharmacies or things like that. You can order it online and monitor it at home. We usually recommend monitoring it once or twice a day and writing that down and bringing it to your PCP. With technology, there's also smartwatches that can monitor your blood pressure as well, which is pretty convenient. Things that people can do to kind of lower it is make sure you're exercising at least 30 minutes 4 or 5 days a week, making sure you get your heart rate up, decreasing sodium intake, quitting smoking, watching your alcohol content, things like that.
Okay, so when you're saying get your heart rate up,
so
give me an idea.
You want your heart rate.
How elevated does it need to be?
It varies with everybody, but you want to get it to where when you're walking that it's probably about 120 or so, 130 is where you're kind of looking at a target heart rate. When you're walking with someone, you want to be able to not have a full conversation. You want to be sort of a little bit out of breath while you're doing it to get your heart rate up.
Okay, just making sure it's not your resting heart rate.
No,
it's higher than that.
Yeah, you want to increase your
and
heart
you can
rate.
do something as easy as walking around your neighborhood.
Yeah, you don't have to run a marathon or do excessive weightlifting or anything like that. Just a good brisk walk for a good 30 minutes, at least 4 to 5 times a week would do it.
Okay. And how can individuals prevent or manage high blood pressure?
Sometimes it is not preventable. It just kind of depends. But things you can do to help reduce your risk are making sure you eat a healthy diet. Try and stay away from unhealthy fats. a lot of things high in sodium, such as, a lot of snack foods, processed foods, and things like that are usually higher in sodium because they use it as preservatives. Um, Again, quitting smoking, monitoring your alcohol intake, reducing your caffeine intake as well can help lower your blood pressure.
Oh, so does caffeine play a culprit
It
in
can.
raising blood pressure?
Usually, when you take your blood pressure, if you do smoke, you shouldn't smoke or drink any caffeine within about 30 minutes of taking your blood pressure because it can elevate it some.
Okay. And you're talking about diet, so it's best to stay on a plant-based natural diet.
Yes, lean meats if you're going to do that as well. But yes, healthier foods, fruits, vegetables, things like that.
And those are easy to get these days,
Yes, a
really.
lot of people can grow it in their backyards nowadays.
Yes, and we have a farmers market that people can come to as well and
Yes,
get them.
absolutely.
All right. Well, how can people schedule an appointment with you for more
They
information?
can call the hospital. Our number is 985 851 6653, and we're accepting new patients and always looking to help the community out.
All right. So, what is the main takeaway you want everybody to know about high blood pressure?
That is a silent killer. It can go unnoticed for a long time. So make sure you go get your blood pressure checked and get it under control.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Bo, for taking the time out for this helpful information.
Thanks, Rhonda.
For more information on high blood pressure and internal medicine specialists, visit tghealthsystem.com. Thanks for joining us on To Your Health. I'm your host, Rhonda Alfred, and we'll see you right back here next week.